Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Nelly, and nice to meet you. If you're meeting me for the very first time on this platform, really do appreciate it. If you're watching this stream right now, please let me know who you are and where you're watching from. I'd really love to know you, get to meet you, and get to just give you my warm hugs and warm welcomes and everything. How are you guys doing today? So nataka kujua kina nani wamefika, who's here, and where are you watching from? Let me know. And if you're coming from IG, also let me know. I just want to know. Hey guys. Oh, hey Nelingari. Hey beautiful. Hey girl. Hey Aminta. How are you doing? Welcome guys. Welcome. Skin. It's the skin. Nakwambia unasema if you have exfoliation, skin will always be on the glow and water. But thank you so much. Welcome from Botswana. Nice to have you here. Oh, you're amazing. I love you. And Aminta, thank you so much for being here as well. Aminta amesema unakaa kama umeoga na gold na maziwa shesh. Thank you so much. That's a nice compliment. That's a very nice compliment. I feel like if you have a skin like mine and you just shower and exfoliate, tops, you're going to glow and look amazing. Yeah, that's the secret. But this skin is so beautiful. I wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. Nothing in the world. No judgment on anyone, but wouldn't change it for nothing in the world. Yeah, but ni kuoga na kupaka initwa Elianto. I applied some Elianto to it, and yeah, then it's just glowing and beautiful. How are you guys doing? How is your day? How's work? How is family, if you live with your family, or if you call today, like just want to know how you're doing. And leo tunataka kufanya freestyle. Topic of course nime mention kwa nini. Vicky, thank you so much for being here. Flourishing Organics, really appreciate your presence right here. Thank you so very much. Nice to see you too. Really appreciate your presence here so much. Yeah, so today I'm having kind of like a freestyle. I noticed on IG, the reason why I came to tell you guys that I'm joining YouTube today is because some of you always miss my YouTube live streams. And reason being is because I don't usually like put it up on Instagram. For some reasons, saa zingine nakwanga shy. Yeah, saa zingine nakwanga shy. It's easier to kuja. I think nimezoea saizi YT sana, but Instagram kunakwanga na maswali mingi sana on my DM, a lot of them. So I thought today I can come and you guys can ask me anything, any question you have, and we shall answer them today. Most of it has been being married to a Finnish, and mwingine alikuwa anauliza about the marriage process. What is it? Ngoja kidogo nime screenshot tu sahizi. Mwingine alikuwa anaulizia marrying a foreigner in Kenya. Myself, because I have to support my darling Nelly, I'll be 30 minutes on here in case I'm I black out. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Aminta, for being here. Really do appreciate it so very much. You guys have been supporting my platform for a long time, and I just really just want to thank you so very much. And you can also share with any friend you know who would want to watch this kind of content, and I'll appreciate. Inaweza kuwa poa sana. So leo nilikuwa nataka kuongea about I wanted to talk about being married to Finnish, and I don't know if I should keep it in English or in Swahili. Like, what do you guys prefer? I do have like audience from as far as here in Finland, and some also in Kenya and across the globe. So you can let me know what language if you're watching for now, or I think English would be better because most of if I speak Finnish, most of you will not understand, and my Finnish is still very simple. So yeah, for purposes of this video, I think English would suit because I'm talking about Finnish men anyway. And the way today I have questions. Later Tanzania zako. First come, first serve. Bring your questions, Aminta. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you, girl. I'm waiting for you, and I hope you're having a good time. Dowry process for you in Kenya. Okay, so I'll start with the time when I met my husband. So after we met, we dated for some time, and then I introduced my husband to my parents after I was sure that the relationship was solid. Of course, I think the first thing I ever told my husband was I wanted to know if he was dating like he wanted to get married, or if he was dating like he just wanted to have fun. So that we had cleared out. We were all looking into getting married. And then after that, my husband met my parents. And then after he met my parents, then we continued living for some time. We lived for a long time because one, we didn't just want to rush into getting married. Two, already I was a single mother, and I just wanted to be like certain that we were going to be together for the longest time. Like I really wanted to get to know him very well, and he really, I think, also wanted to get to know me as well, right, sweetheart? Did you want to get to know me? Yeah, so we really wanted to get to know each other. So by the time we was getting to marrying each other officially, we officiated. We lived together for, Isa, how long did we live together before we got married? Is it 7 years or six? About six, right?
5 years.
Yeah. Okay. So we lived together for 5 years, and then we decided to get married. Now, getting married, we were supposed to get married here in Finland, but the requirements for us to move to Finland were one of them that the easiest, considering we're coming with children. And the reason I want to mention this is because some people usually think that if you have Finnish children and you're not married, if you sire children, if you sire or if you sire, I don't know, if you sire children with a Finnish man, you can just get an easy way in entrance into Finland. It doesn't work like that. One of the requirements is you have to get married. You have to be married. Like you can have a child with a Finnish man and live in Kenya, and that does not guarantee you a visa to come to Finland. And even if you're coming to visit, if they know you're coming, the intention is to stay, they'll make it really hard for you. So one of the requirements was we get married. So we were really rushed against time. My husband spoke to my parents. They negotiated dowry. I personally did not get paid for like cows. My husband gave my parents a gift, and then they gave us their blessings, and then we got married at the AG's office. So that's how we got married. Um, so dowry process for me in Kenya was just Dowry for me in Kenya was just what is it called? A gift exchange between the two families, and then yeah, that is how we got married. Let's do this one first. Moving process to Finland or any other country requirements, law of the land related to dating a foreigner here. Okay, so moving to Finland, one of the requirements was that we get married, of course, because we're planning to move here to live here, not to just visit. So one of the requirements was to get married. That was number one. Number two, they needed the marriage certificate certified by the government or the issuing what is it called, office. So that is the Sharia house. So it had to be certified that it's an original copy of the original copy, that it's a copy of like it's the original copy they have issued from the offices. And then after that, I had children by that time, so we had to also provide our children birth certificates, and what is it called, national identity numbers, because social security numbers, not national identity numbers. So if you have a child with a Finnish man, or if you have a child with a foreign person, you have to you have to notify their government that you have a child with the man. He can take you there, or you can go there with his passport, or with his passport and himself, or him just the child and the father's name and all the other documents. And then you're able to file for, you can be able to notify them that you have a child and you need the social security number. So then you'll be given and then also the passports. So that is the social security numbers are the ones that will also help you to get the children's passports, because the children, if you have a children with a man from a foreign country, they have now dual citizenship. So like, for example, my children, they have dual citizenship. So after giving our marriage certificate, we also had to give the children's social security numbers. My first son at that time still had the Kenyan passport, so we also had to give that. I at that time had an ongoing case in court, which I also had to clear out and sort the issues. One mistake that happened when we got together with my husband then was that the naming of our first son was that in a way that he took my husband's last names before he was legally adopted by law, according to the Kenyan government or any other government. So because of that, I told you guys I met my husband when my son was still really young. So because of that reason, we had to go through a process of changing, which had to go through a process of court. I had more issues to sort with regards to the birth of my child and everything like that. So after that, then we ended up finding the sole custody for myself and my husband being a guardian to my son. So those are the documents we had to file: the guardianship, and the sole custody, and then our children's social security numbers or their passports. And then we gave all of that documents to the Finnish embassy and booked an appointment where you went, and after doing the application online, then we booked an appointment, had an interview. Then after having an interview, the interview is not really hard, so it's not like something you really have to exercise on. It's just an interview to reaffirm that or confirm that whatever information you had given to them is right and not wrong or forged. And you might also be required to take again the originals of the documents you had given to them. And then after that, you just have to wait and see if they give you a residence permit or not. So we all came here with our residence permit. Yeah. Have a Yeah, I think I was last time talking about dowry as well, and there was a guy who came live and said he could not afford dowry, which I thought, like, I don't know. You guys can let me know because sometimes he's mostly a constant viewer of my platform. You can let me know what's your thought on dowry, and my case, it was an agreement between my parents and his side. And in your case, would you allow a man to marry you if he does not what is it called? Before he's like he has an understanding of why cows and why it has to be done in a certain way, because I think my husband took him a long time to realize why we do the cows. Like he for him his thought was, I can never buy a woman, I cannot exchange your worth for cows. But now that he understands, he always says once we go back home, I mean, we're going to do the dowry payment, which is a year in my community. So, and I for me, I appreciated my parents because they had an understanding that we are actually two different cultures coming together. And my parents, I think for them, it was once there's a full understanding of our culture and everything around it, then at his own time, he'll always go back and pay the dowry. Like the cow part of the like everything else was done, but the part of taking the cows to my home, so that he'd be doing later on. But in the beginning, he never had an understanding on why is it so important. Yeah, so for me, I wanted to ask you guys today because there's a guy who really wants to marry someone back home. He's here in Europe, and his question was he cannot afford dowry. So I wanted to have like an opinion view of you guys. Like, what do you think? Is dowry something you're able to negotiate, or in his case, he cannot afford? Okay. So is it something you can negotiate and have your happily ever after, inform your parents about it? And do you talk finances before would you talk finances before getting to marry someone? Um, then talk about the dowry and whether or not he's able to pay or not. Because sometimes I think when it comes to moving abroad, there are many things involved on the men's side, like, for example, paying your tickets. If you have your children, maybe he might have to bring your children here. Maybe also he's supporting your parents back at home. And there are just many things. So would you be in a place to negotiate all of this? Because in the case I'm talking about, the guy is actually supporting the girl's home, like with daily expenditures and everything, sends money and stuff. So, do you think he should tell, like, they should have this talk, or like like he has to pay dowry and that's it? What do you guys think? I want to know about that. Um, I mean to say, nice. Thank you for the interview part. Yeah, the interview part is just it's not like they're not like trying to pin you onto something, but one thing I usually advise people is sometimes when you go to the embassy, sometimes we tend to give information that is not correct, thinking that it's going to facilitate the process of getting the documents we need. But then most of the time, wow, Richie, hey, how are you? But then most of the time what happens is that when you give false information, it makes it hard for you to get the documents that to get your process faster, because obviously when they call you and then they question you again, and the first application you had done was a written form on the internet, you'll just conspire against yourself. So it's very important that you say your truth, basically. Like, don't put false information. If you're planning to live there, say you're living there. If your husband is the only person supporting you, say your husband is the person supporting you. Don't say you have income when you know you don't have income and all the money you get comes from your husband. It's good to be very transparent. Africa, no offense to us. When you date a foreigner, they expect you will omosha them from all their problems. um, I think there's the commercial part, but Aminta, would you consider, like, yes, they are omosharing you, but would you consider like uomoke, like alipe kitu anaweza, because anakuwa moshai side ingine, ama like because anaweza kuwa anakupatia upkeep, anaangalia wazazi wako. He's taking care of your bills. Maybe let's say if you're a single mom, he's taking care of your child, the school fees, the house you're living in, and everything. He's taking care of your parents. Like the only part done or remaining is this, the dowry part is what he's not able to suit in his pocket. Like, would you consider, or dowry still must be done? What do you think? Now I can comment. Okay, I'm waiting. My husband paid dowry. Wow, that's nice. Congratulations. And yeah, that's really recommendable. For me, it took a while. I think for me, one, we are not like so traditionally brought up. Like, it's more like urban kind of rural development we've had. And so it's not like my I think in my family we don't believe like, oh, this is what tradition says, so it must be followed like this, which is something that came in handy for us. But again, I feel like in my husband's side, he had to understand why, and also his side also of the family need to understand why. Because for us, if you're going to pay dowry, my husband has to be accompanied by the sister or the brother and the friends. He can't just go to my home by himself, and then they have to go and pay the dowry, and it's a process that takes days. He has to go meet my parents, negotiate the dowry, go back, come back, bring the dowry, and then stay a night, I think. And then he's free to have the wife. So, and then in between that, there's the process of now the financial parts of the uncles that are invited. There has to be many. It's not just your father negotiating the dowry. So, yeah, for us it's going to be when we go back home, because now his family and my family are in the same understanding on why dowry and stuff like that. So yeah, it depends with family and what they are about. Plus, dowry is paid in installments. I had this conversation with my mom today, and I believe the lady can speak to the parents. Yeah, I felt like for me, when we were chatting with the guy, I felt like when you meet a guy and you set everything, because they've talked about wedding, they've talked about everything else, but then the only thing missing is the dowry. Like, the guy, he knows he needs to pay the dowry, but he cannot afford it. And I feel like the lady has gone ahead of the guy to also quote the price without considering the guy's pocket or something like that. So that's why I wanted to ask, like, what do you guys think? Like, is it something they can weigh on? Is it something? Yeah, because I feel like money conversations are really critical at the beginning of a relationship, and transparency is also very critical. I feel like it's not okay to start a relationship without knowing the financial status of the guy you're wanting to live with, because that is the main determining factor. And for me, I usually advocate, like, I don't see why settle with someone when you know you don't have I mean, you can, I don't know how to phrase this, but yeah, let me not let me not phrase it the way I want to phrase it. Okay. And tell them the financial situations. Yeah, I think it's very, very important. Finances are a make or break in a relationship, and it can be a determinant to whether you're really going to marry someone to stay with them, or it's someone you're going to date. Because as zingine tunatafutanga ngazi, and when you need your ngazi, you just go for that ngazi. But if it's someone who is open enough to tell you, for me, conversations that I had, and I feel like every person must have with their spouse, is, how much debt do you have? Okay, because sometimes you can be marrying and you're marrying into debt. You settling down with someone thinking you're going to start a life na mnaanza na kulipa deni. Number two, like, what is your future plan? Like, what is your 10-year plan? What is your 5-year plan? I wanted to know the short-term plan and the long-term plan. And this was like after hata mimi mwenyewe pia I'm also trying to evaluate along the way as we continue going, like which places, like mi nikuwa na mesha na places tunaenda, like anaweza anashusha mboga ama atoshi mboga. I think that is so important. Like lazima uangalie anashusha mboga ama atoshi mboga. Like the times that you're together, we started with long distance relationship. So for me it was like the times we're together, vitu tunafanya, do they, can I make sense out of short term plans zake na long term plans zake, ama is it impossible? And then so we had that conversation, and then past relationships we also had a conversation about that. I wanted to know, have you been married before or not? And your relationships, like, are you dating someone or not? Like me, I just want to be on the clear. Another question I wanted to, I really made sure I asked at the beginning of our relationship was, do you have children? And I think for me, when I met my husband, the first thing I told him ever was, I have a child. Like, if we are not going to the place I'm thinking, my goal in a relationship is to find someone to settle down with. If you think you're not going there, then I'm not in there with you. Which also brings me to another one, question nilikuwa nataka kuwauliza, nilisikia conversation, ebu mnikumbushe niwaambie, Dowry loan, my phone want to write German. That's okay. I also have a problem with my translate sometimes. My husband did, since I wanted him to thank people who made me grow up. That's so amazing. That is so amazing. And I think it's the dowry meaning in the African society, which people do not understand most of the time. It's not to pay. It's basically, I checked, for example, in my community, it's something that your parents can see and remember. You know, we had a daughter. So every time they take care of those cattle, it's like they're remembering of nurturing us when you're growing up, you know. So it's basically a continuation of, Mom, I've given you this to continue looking at, as a reminder that I was here, you know, you did this work, you did this much, you know, you fed me, you bathed me, you changed my nappies, you did everything. Hey Sharon, how are you doing, sweetheart? How are you doing today? The uncles and aunties, the discrimination for just being a foreigner, they ask for other unrealistic stuff. They really, really, they also need a white wedding, etc. 10,000 people to be invited. Well, when it comes to like wedding planning, when it comes to family and marriage, I think that is always the hardest part. For me, my opinion, if you have a big family and they get along, like well and good, have them, all of them come. If you have dysfunctional family, like if your family, you basically get along with just maybe 10 people, I don't see why you should have like 1,000 people in your wedding when the only people you've been talking to and communicating to a lot of times is just you, your aunties, maybe some few aunties that you already know, and stuff like that. Like, I don't really see why, you know. So that is my opinion. Like, for me, sometimes it doesn't really make sense. I think if your family is big and 10,000 people have been actively in your life, then have 10,000 people. If like my dad is very famous, and if he decides to invite all his friends, like that is going to be a big deal. And unless, like, for me, wedding is something so intimate. Like, I wanted, in my experience, I wanted people who have been actively involved in my life, and that's what we had. Yeah. So, but I think it's when it comes to Africans and invitations, it can be a lot. It can be a lot of times. It can be a lot. I don't know why this is. So, yeah, apologies for my many questions. Glad you brought this topic up because I wasn't understanding the whole logic. Keep asking. We learn from each other, I believe, and it's the best way to to get somewhere. You get to learn from my experience, and maybe my experience gets to change what your thoughts are. Could be mine was not what you expected, and or it was not kind of like something you have thought about in line of. So it can help sometimes. Some of you usually ask me to pin ways you can support my platform. So today I'll pin my PayPal account. And thank you so much, guys, for every one of you who supported my platform last time we were having a chat here. Let me see who else is here. Okay. What if they have children and divorced before? I feel like it's some of the things that need to be brought to the table. Like if someone has a child before and they're divorced, there you're talking about a baby mama, and you're also talking about your stepchildren, and probably for your own self, you do not have children yet. And even if you have children yet, you could also be having baby daddy, or the many aspects. One is, how does he manage, how is his relationship with his former wife? Do they get along? How is the co-parenting? How does it work? Does he get to see the son, or it's those ones that big mama comes and throws abuses here and there and then leaves? The child is arrogant, talks to you badly, like talks to him badly, because if the child is not getting along with the father, then it's very hard for you to have a relationship with the son. Like there's no way you're going to make that situation better. So I feel like these are things, if you're prepared well enough before you get into a relationship, it makes work more easier. Then you're also prepared to start practicing your being a stepmother or a step kind of relative to this other child's life. But if these are not brought into the picture and then you come in, I feel like it can be a very big, rude shock on you. Imagine being married and then realizing, oh, by the way, I usually have a kid, an 18-year-old or a 6-year-old. It comes as a shock. Sometimes I think when it comes to things like parenting, you need to be prepared to know that, okay, now I need to act a role of an 18-year-old mother, or I need to act a role of a 6-year-old mother. Like, what do they need? You understand? Because you need to create a relationship with this child as well. There's something called mixed families. And in mixed families, I think it's when you come with your child and he comes with his, or he does not have, and then he joins yours. When you guys come together, that child also becomes part of this family. If he came with his own, it also becomes part of this other family. So I think it's very important that you both get to have this conversation before building up a relationship. And that is why I'm saying, for me, it was a groundbreaker. Like, I need to know, am I mentally and physically prepared to act a role of a child I have not seen? Do you understand? And also, I feel like some fathers or some men, when they get divorced, sometimes they don't get along with the baby mamas, like I've said. Issues over custody, issues over who's taking, even just managing as simple as who stays with the child during this time and who stays with the child on this other time, they become an issue. So if he does not speak to you about all of these issues, then it will be really, really hard. It can really, really be hard. I'll share my link here. If any one of you wants to come and join and share their opinion, you can come. It's there in the comment as I continue to read these ones. So, yeah, so I think for me, talking about children and divorce is really, really important. Again, talking about divorce will tell you if the man, there's some red flags you can easily avoid for yourself. If you hear a man who has had a divorce and all they're talking about is blaming the wife they had, like every mistake is about the wife. The wife did, the wife did, the wife was, the wife was, the wife of. Like, there's no place he mentions about the role he played in the divorce, because I believe it takes two to tango. It takes two to get married, and it also takes two to break a marriage. So if a man or a woman only speaks about the ex negatively and never about any negative thing he did, or any negative thing he think was on his side that contributed to the divorce, then that's a red flag you need to watch on. Like, no one is 100% negative. in a relationship. Like there must have been something that brought them together to be married. They didn't get forced to get married. They didn't get forced to live together for maybe 12 years, 15 years, 6 years, and stuff like that. So for me, I believe men who say my wife was, and never say like, oh, in this relationship, I was like one, two, three, maybe I was drinking, maybe I cheated, maybe I did this, and give a reason. Like, I feel like those are red flags that you need to avoid. Like, no one is perfect. So I would not agree with men who say, my wife was wrong, my wife was this, my ex was this, no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. Even if you're dating your boyfriend, or if you have an ex, obviously you'll find, even if you broke up, there's some good things that he did. Like, you can say, wow, here, like buying me flowers, he remembered every day. Like every week he'd buy me flowers, or he'll take me out, or he'd do this. Like, someone cannot be 100% wrong all the time. So for me, men or women who talk negatively, like everything negative about their exes, I know we outgrow relationships. It's okay for a man to say, I outgrew my wife, like I grew out of our relationship, or maybe distance towards apart, with the bond faded or something like that. That makes sense, because some people, when it comes to long distance relationships tends to break because the bond weakens, and then there's no intimacy left between the two of you. So if you don't know how to keep long distance relationship, you can easily break up. Yeah. Um, let's see. Thank you so much, Elsie, for being here. Um, English both. Thank you so much. Saminta, Aminta Mwandoi, hi. Flavia is saying, but then Flavia has a YouTube channel. If you guys can go and follow, I would really appreciate as well. And also, let me see who else. Aminta, do you have a YT channel? I think Sharon in the Lifestyle also has a YouTube channel. If you guys can go and follow. Richie Roger has a YouTube channel. If you guys can connect with him as well. I think when it comes to YT, it's very important that we support each other and yeah, be there for one another. So let's see. Sharon is saying she's doing great. Again, there is the PayPal account for anyone who wants to support my platform. Requirements for, let's say, a foreigner who wants to visit for the first time, never been here. I think that you're meaning in Kenya. Is it easier for them to get entry than a local going there? Do I make sense? Yes, you do make sense. It's easier for foreigners to visit Kenya. It's so very easy. They just have to book a ticket and come, because Kenya, I think they don't have a lot of what is it called, requirements. Like in Kenya, I remember my husband, every time he had to renew his stay, like sometimes he used to come and you'd stay for 3 months, and then sometimes he had to extend. There was no day he had any difficulties, aside from days where he maybe, because most of the time when he was in Kenya, he was working in Somalia sometimes. So sometimes the visa would be coming to an expiry when he is in Somalia. So that one, you have to, if the visa expires when you're, or is almost like 1 week to expiry, you cannot renew easily, because it takes a long time to the renewal time. So he had to travel out. But Kenya does not have any barriers to people visiting. I think Kenya is the most welcoming country when it comes to foreigners. It's hard for you to visit his country if, for example, I think other countries it's easier. In Finland, it's really hard because they know many people who come here, or I think other countries as well. They know people who come to this side, especially from Africa, in those sides. They're coming basically to stay, or to look for better job opportunities, or to stay, for example, and into a relationship and stuff like that. So they make it a little bit hard, because they want you to come knowing that if you're coming in a relationship, you're coming married. If you're coming to visit, they only give you those 3 months. After those 3 months, if you choose to change your visa, I think we talked about that here. If you want to watch the live we did with Olivia from here in Finland. In Finnish people, mostly, if you come with a one visa, like student visa, you stay on that student visa. If you have to change it, you have to go back and apply for another visa to come back. If you want to come as a married person, you come as a married person. You cannot come with one visa and then change and then have another one. No, it's not possible. So yeah, for him to go to Kenya, it's very easy. So I would say if you're planning to get married to a foreigner, it's easier for him to come to Kenya, and then you can do a wedding there if you have planned a wedding. I've seen people who've done that and it succeeded. If not, you can do an AG wedding like what we did, and then have a reception. That is, I'm basically telling you guys what I did. So have an AG wedding and then have a reception. And then it's very simple. It's done. You have a legal, legit document. No one is stopping you. Or if you want to have a church wedding, also you can plan between your church and him and then have the wedding there. Come, it's very easy. But if you have to come to this side, it's also easy, but I think it's more cumbersome. But it's still also possible, but you might not have all your relatives. I believe most of the time when it comes to wedding with foreigners, we Africans tend to have a lot of people to invite in a wedding. And so if you have a lot of people to invite in a wedding, you do the math. You have 100 uncles who want to come to your wedding. You have 10 aunties and they all need envelopes, pocket monies. You know, when they come, they need something like, oh, she gave us these gifts, you know. So if you have to fly them all here, the math is not mathing. It's not just adding. And it's easier for your husband's side to come there with his family because they'll be coming like maybe at most 6 people, 9 people, 10 people, 15 if they have friends. I don't know. But then it's easier for him to bring his side, the groom, to come with his visitors to your country than you to invite all your relatives to his country and have a wedding where all your relatives are going to be pleased that they were invited. Otherwise, you're going to be sorting out what is it called? You're going to be the bad person in the village. Yeah. Did you make an agenda or plan as a couple? I love you guys so much. Cute couple, cute kids. Oh, thank you so much for the compliment. Um, like I said before, we had an agenda. I think my husband is an economist. And I feel like one benefit that I got into marrying this man is the planning part of everything. Like myself, I'm a bad planner. Like I'm so poor when it comes to planning, but my husband does come in and he will help me with that. He's informed me of a lot of things, taught me a lot of things, and I still am learning. But I think the part I appreciate about him so much, and not that I think I know, the part I appreciate about him so much is the knowledge that he has when it comes to planning things and actualizing things. So that is something that I do appreciate. So yeah, we had an agenda. We had our long-term goal and we had our short-term goal. The only place I would say we had kind of like a shortcoming was having our third child. And I think for us, everything we planned, like our first child together, we had Adrian, and then we mothered Adrian and fathered Adrian for a while. We had our second child when Adrian was, I think, was it 3? When Adrian was 4. Then we had our first child together. And then that was also planned. Our third child, we're supposed to have our third child here. And then happened, I had a lot of pregnancy complications during my pregnancy. So we ended up having our child in Kenya. I could not fly anyway. So it was still a planned thing, but then the coming here was not possible because my pregnancy was a risky pregnancy. Yeah. So also, did you change a few things to accommodate your partner? Let's say, for example, not drinking if your partner doesn't. Whoa, I think this one, I've not had to change anything, and he has not had to change anything. With my husband, he does not like partying, like going to the clubs. I'm a party girl. I love being out. I love drinking if I have friends and stuff like that, or if I know the place very well. My husband is the kind of man who would drop me in the club, leave me there, let me have fun, and then pick me up later. Or stay with the kids at home And then I go out. Like Sunday, I was out alone. And he stayed back at home. I found him waiting for me. And then we went to bed together. He'll be doing his hobbies and doing his stuff. And he'll wait for me. So all that time, if I have any problem, I'm able to call. I know very well club is not his thing, although he does come with me to the club sometimes. So sometimes I would invite him to come and dance with me or something like that. But when it comes to party life, I've had to sometimes consider, like, okay, we can go for a dance this week, maybe next week let's drink inside. The other week I'll go out by myself. So we just have to balance between those. We've not had to change anything. I think I've given this example before. For example, my husband has a friend who's a female, and they talk a lot. Like they talk all the time. Not all the time, but once in a while. And when they talk, it's always a long conversation because they're catching up on things that have been happening with work and everything. And she says hello to me and stuff like that. And those are things I'm not going to say like, you have a girlfriend, change that, because I know there's no sexual relationship. These are things we have talked about, like, yeah. So as we understand each other and we are not about to change each other, we are just two people who fell in love, not trying to change each other, but becoming better for each other along the journey. So all those years now, we're closing our 10th year soon, has been doing life like that, not changing. Like I've not had to compromise on anything. I think, yeah, I don't see anything I've had to change. The only thing I've had to change, yeah, I've had to change one thing. Before getting married, I was used to be this chick who'd have like sleepovers a lot of times. Um, and my friends would be like living in my house like all day long. When I got together with my husband, days when he is with me, like when he's come to visit me, my friends will be my friends out there and not here, not in my house. You understand? We'll still be catching up and stuff like that, but no sleepovers. We'll only have the sleepovers once he has left. So I think that is something I had to change. If he's around, my friends don't come and have sleepovers, because I'll be having sleepovers with like 10 different people, boys and girls, who are my friends. So things like those, like having a party all night long, those are things I don't do when he is at home. But when he is not at home, like when I used to live in Kenya, where I had like a lot of friends, when he's not at home, days when he's back in his country or in his workplace, then I'd be basically living my best life. Alcohol, friends, nyama choma, kuja tukatike, niko na pombe, kuja na madem na machali like not like really like a sexual relationship, no, but just friends who come and we have a nice time together once in a while. Yeah, so that is the only thing I had to change. When my husband is at home, I don't hold sleepovers for my friends and myself. Like we don't get to party at home. I used to do sleepovers because I'm a mom, and so if I don't have days months when I did not have a stay in house help, which I rarely had, I stayed with my brothers, and I used to have a day bag person who comes during the day, cleans the house, and then goes back home. So because of that, I always had to be at home at night when my husband is away. I had to be at home at night with my children. So the shortcut of that is I have my children sleeping, and then my friends and me in the sitting room, and then we party the whole time. Yeah. And mostly it was my church group. Yeah. Then I used to go to church every day. Jane Shiro, hi, how are you? This is another YouTuber, by the way. You guys feel free to support her as well. Still growing, and she is amazing. She does cooking videos, which I absolutely love. You know those chapatis you see in my Instagram? Like the last one I posted, it came from her. It was her recipe I was trying. So please support her, support her, support her. Aminta is saying, no, Nelly, I don't have a YouTube channel. I just appreciate content creation and the work that you do. Just a regular, curious human being giving support. Thank you so very much, sweetheart, for being here. Always, thank you so very much. And guys, again, remember, I'm going through the questions as we go with go through this conversation. So please leave your comment or your question, and I'll be able to answer. If you have anything you want to ask, I'm here today to answer them. Um, anything apart from family planning, because I'm a pull-out person. I know, like family planning, I've never tried, so I'm also always looking for information on that. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I do not qualify to answer on earth. That's the only thing my husband has the right to. Like we try, like the two of us can answer, but it's not just me alone. Yeah, that's the only thing. Don't ask me unless you're asking me how we manage. But like family planning, I do not know anything, for anyone who wants to ask that. Um, I think I read that AG weddings in Kenya have really changed, not the same like before. Waiting list, pastors, you have to do a 3 months counseling, approve permission to allow the wedding. Uh, was your experience the same? No, my experience was not the same. For my wedding, we I used to go to church back in Kenya, and my church, I felt like they supported the relationship we had, but I felt like there's this so much pressure into, because you serve in this particular department, you should do your wedding in this certain kind of manner. And I felt like there's a lot of expectations on us to fulfill, considering I was marrying a white guy. Most of the time, if you're marrying someone, you are the one who knows them better. But the people who see him does not really know what he's capable or not capable of. So I felt like for me, the target I was given was unrealistic, but still they were all the way supporting our relationship. Um, my husband would come to church once in a while. And then we once in a while, when he came to church, we spoke about relationship and all of that stuff. We never had to go through counseling, because we had been living together for a while. Like, guys, we lived together for we had children. We had Adrian and Matthew before getting married. You understand? So it wasn't like we were just getting to meet each other. So maybe it could be that it's different when you're just by your own. But for us, we were not given that as a requirement. All we had to do is we paid, I think, about, was it 10,000 or 15,000? I think 15 or 10,000. I can't remember. And then we waited for our marriage. Was like, we found a very quick process. We paid, I think, around 15,000. If I'm sure, I cannot remember very well. Check on Google, marrying a foreigner in Kenya at Sharia house. There's the cost listing there. That is what we paid. After paying that, we had the AG, the day the wedding, the marriage was, they said they usually have a time where if someone is against the wedding, they can come and put in a complaint or something like that. So that was done. We had a waiting period of some days, I think more than a week or two, more than 2 weeks, and then we got married. I remember I went to Kisumu to see my parents, came back, and then after some day, coming back, and then days later we got everything done. So it wasn't the same. We never had counseling. We never had a pastor. We actually just got married, and people were like, ooh, church especially were like, ooh, okay. Relatives knew, you have to do a 3 months counseling. We did not do that. I said approve permission to allow the wedding. That was done. Yeah, that was done. Basically, what we had to do is my husband had to prove he has no, he had a certificate of no impediment. So it means that you have not been married before, and there's nothing stopping you from getting married on his side. On my side, I just had to sign an affidavit indicating that I have not been married before, or I'm not. Yeah, I have not been married before. So I had to sign that, and then it had to be, what is it, commissioned by a commissioner of oaths, and that was it. That was it. We never had like all these long processes. He had to give a certificate of no impediment, and I had to give an affidavit commissioned by a commissioner of odds, and that was just it. That's simple. And then we waited, and then we got married. Achunge nyumba, so Nairobian nightmaid. I think for yeah, nachunganga nyumba, like it comes to, it narrows down to what do you like? Because I feel like if you want to live with someone for an eternity, like for me, I don't see. I know divorce do happens. Like when we get there, we get there. But for now, we love each other for better, for worse, right? And I believe I don't see any need of forcing him to do the things that I like if I know that he does not like them. But instead, I can just continue doing the things that I like without having him feel like he has to always come with me. There are times he can compromise, but not all the time. You understand? I know he can take clubs once in a month, like he can go dunda, like doof 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 music and dancing and whatnot, but not like every week to go club, every week to go dunda. No, that's not him. So I give him that time. He takes care of the children, I go out. So it's easier. I don't then have to hire someone to take care of the children. Although we still have like date nights and stuff like that. So yeah. Um So yeah, so kuchunga watoto, and that's something I love about marrying a Finnish man so much. Like taking care of the children and taking care of house responsibility is a normal thing. Mona nimekuja IG na alikuwa anashughulikia nighttime routine. Like we usually go to bed after doing the dishes and stuff like that. So when I came on IG, my husband was doing the dishes in the kitchen. Not that he does it every day, but it's just a balance. I was putting the kids to bed, he does the kitchen. Or if the floors need, like, we manage. So we wake up to a clean house and it's easier to manage in the morning. Yeah. Oh, thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh, Oh, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. You guys are so amazing. Thank you. I can't believe it's been that long. Like, uh, it's been a while, but it's been a nice journey. Like I admire where we've come and the far we have grown. Like we've come a long way. We've come a long way. We've come from long distance relationship for a long period of time and still sticking together. We've come through sickness, near death experience. We've come through a lot. We've come through a lot. So I enjoy this little bubble I have here, which is why I don't know. We just enjoy every moment we have with us because we've been through a lot as a family, and yeah, it's bound us together, bound together. Thank you so very much. Thank you, guys are amazing. Are you planning to getting another baby girl? Wow, this is another question I get all the time. My mom had two boys, one girl. I'm the firstborn. So my mom usually say like he could not try they could not try the fourth one because he wanted to balance like two girls, two boys. Because what if it comes another girl? What if it comes another boy? But in my community, I mean, boys are more appreciated. Like if your wife in my community, in my culture, in my tribe, if your wife gives birth to a boy as a firstborn, ooh, I used to tease my husband and tell my husband, if like I'll be a hot cake back at home because I'm just like boy, 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 boy. Like, come on, like there'll be a king looking for me. They're like, I'm a hot cake, I'm a hot cake. But my mom having me as a daughter, I think was okay. Like they were fine with that. But I usually see like culturally, men do appreciate if their wives give birth to boys first and then girls later. It's just a preference they have. Not that they do not like the children, it's just something that people like really like fancy or something like that. I don't see any difference in that. But yeah, so children, baby girl, listen, let me be truthful with you. Right now, I think one thing, let me not promise. I've told you guys I cannot do the what is it called? Family planning advice, right? I might tell you guys that we won't be having a child soon. And maybe there's one cooking already. You understand? Because we're together, we do our games. You never know. You just never know. You just never know. We try and play safe, but you just never know. So I would say I'm keeping it open, but whatever comes, I'm not choosing. Like kids are kids. I've never thought of, I think because I've only mothered three boys, I've not thought about myself as a mother of a daughter, although I do admire like baby girls. But you never know. One could be cooking right now, one could not be cooking right now, one could be cooking tomorrow, we could be making one, like, babies can, yeah, they can be coming, as long as we're fertile. We cannot promise anything. Because I was talking to my husband and I told my husband he needs to go for, what is it called, that they go and tie his tubes, and vasectomy. And my mother-in-law was also telling him he needs to go for vasectomy, because me and my mother-in-law were thinking women go through a lot of stuff. We go through monthly periods every month, so men should also have a role to play. We go through labor and stuff like that. So when it comes to vasectomy and family planning, it should be the man's stress. So me and my mother-in-law were thinking my husband should go and do vasectomy, and my husband said no one is going to put him through that. So that's why I'm saying if God puts one, we're trying to be responsible. But if the universe decides we're having a baby, a pregnancy it is. So that's why I don't want to talk about that. Could be one is cooking, right now, or one could be cooking tomorrow. So I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, we talked about vasectomy. We're still talking about vasectomy actively in this house, but the man's not agreeing. Like he's not coming around, and I don't think he's coming around anytime soon. So, yeah. But tell me, in your house, like, are you doing family planning? If you're doing, which options are working for you? And if you are not doing, would your man go for vasectomy? And if he would go for vasectomy, would you if he would say he wants to go for vasectomy, would you would you agree to that, like knowing that you maybe probably are done having kids, or you don't have to have children? But I think it's kind of like, I think he would be a gentleman. It would be like, my queen, have a nice ride to your sexual intimacy. You understand? Like, just enjoy the journey. Like, let's do this without having any stress or anything like that. So yeah. But the month is not coming around. So hmm. I don't know. I can't tell you guys that we are planning to have another baby, or two more babies, or three more babies, because again, like I told you guys, I'm not on any family planning. The children we've had to plan. Like, we want to get pregnant at this point, and then we've all tried and gotten pregnant at that. I'm a very fertile person, so we've tried to get pregnant at that time. I've not been on any family planning at all. I've not been on any family planning at all. I've had a miscarriage, but I've not gone through family planning. So I would not be able to say in that part. But if he comes around, I'll let you, like, I'll definitely, if my husband agrees to doing vasectomy, I'll come and tell you guys. But until he agrees on doing vasectomy or not, it's still very unclear. It's still very unclear what is going to happen. Yeah. How many kids do you have? I have three boys. I have three amazing boys. Um, there's also adoption. I would consider adopting a child. I think, listen, guys, I love motherhood. This is something my husband finds totally crazy. Um, I would not mind being a surrogate, although I feel like I'd be attached. I mean, I think it's just in my heart, I feel like I'm gifted to, like, I'm gifted to carry a child, and it pains my heart that some people have tried options and options and options to becoming parents, and they're not able to become parents. And some people I know, when it comes to adoption, it's a very like hard topic because they want something of their own. I used to think in the past that I'll become a surrogate, but again, when I think about the labor and the way you get attached to your baby when the baby's in your tummy, again, it's kind of like, no, I cannot let that child go. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, if, yeah, it's it's something that has always come to my heart. Like, if someone like who's very close to me comes and says, can you carry for me, I don't know, I would really say, I would maybe say yes, but then my husband would be like, no. Yeah, but yeah, not for payment though, not for payment, just to be able to gift another person the gift of having a child if they're not able to carry, something like that. But my husband cannot get around that. No. My mom, I think, would not also. My mom would be like, "Are you crazy?" But I feel, for me, it pains me to think about the ridiculous amount of money people have to go through fertility treatments and stuff like that. So I usually think, like, you know what? I easily get pregnant. Like, I can easily get pregnant. Yes, that's a proof. Clearly, I have 3 children. If someone, I would, but it has to be someone I really know, like, has to be my sister, or yeah, my sister or my blood, basically. Yeah, I'll do that. But in another life, I'll do that. But in this life, it's not possible. Yeah. Thank you for the information and sharing information. Informative information means a lot. I was asking for a friend. No worries at all. You can bring any question. Today, we're answering any and all the questions you have. And if you want to support my platform, again, like I said, I use the name nellymarons@gmail.com on PayPal. If you have anything you feel like you want to support my platform, please do so. Another way you can support my platform is by playing the watch list that I have, or watching this video, or sharing with your friend. Also, subscribing and liking this video and sharing it is also another way you can support my platform. And I really appreciate that a lot of time. A lot. Yeah, let's see. Oh, someone is saying it's 9K. I think we paid 10 or 15. I don't remember 9. I think we paid 15. I think we paid 15. Tulipitia huko nyuma. I think we paid 15 now that I remember. Tulipitia huko nyuma to speed the process. Tulipitia huko nyuma because have kungojea, I think, 1 week and some days, and then tukaoleka. So tulipitia mlango ya nyuma. Sasema na Kiswahili na Kizungu because yeah, kuna wenye wachuku kutoka huku na sitaki kutuportray vibaya, so tulipitia si yeye ni mimi nilikuwa naolewa, nilipitia huko nyuma because mimi nilikuwa nataka vitu zangu ziende haraka haraka, so nilipa 15. Very easy tukamalizana na hiyo story na ikaisha hivyo. Who do you need to pay to marry a foreigner? If you go to the Sharia house, there's the whole process is just there. You go in, you have to book an appointment. Do they book an appointment? I think we actually just walked in. We asked the process, we were told, wakaongelesha na huko, wakakuja wakaniongelesha, home venye tunachezanga, wakakuja wakaniongelesha, wakaniambia kama nataka kitu ende haraka haraka, ndio hii pesa mnafaa kulipa, ina kwa risiti yenye nitaandika, ndio pesa unafaa kunipatia. Alikuja akaniongelesha mimi mwenyewe. Again, nasema na Kiswahili kwa sababu kuna wenye wanani watch hapa wanatoka huku kwetu na hawaizi, sitaki wajue tunapitianga mlango ya nyuma, mnaelewa? So tulikuwa na bwanangu, tukaongea, wakatuonyesha risiti, akakuja akaniambia, mi nikaona niko na shughuli mingi, I had a case in court, nilikuwa na story mob, so mi nikampatia yenye alikuwa anaulizia, akatupeleka tukarejista, tukapatiwa risiti, tukaongojea masiku. Ilienda hivyo haraka haraka. But it's something I would not tell you to do. Kama utaki. It's something I would not tell you to do. So I think nimeansa hiyo. Thank you for the information. I think you pia nimesoma. Vasectomy ndio tulikuwa tunaongelea. If the man's come around, I'll let you guys know. But I don't think it's something, kwanza nikimwongeleshanga anasikanga kandidhi, anasemanga not me, but at least si mimi peke yangu namwongelesha, because my mother-in-law is also helping me talk to him. So if he comes around, inaweza kuwa poa sana. Moja, actually kwa familia yangu, there's one person mwenye may have vasectomy. You know, it should not be a woman's stress to think about fertility. Like tuna control vitu mingi. We give birth, we have periods, we go through hormones, we go through, hormonal imbalance and all that stuff. Like it's also, for once, I feel like myself and what I tell my husband, that's the only honor he can say, you know what, you are my queen. And because I love you, I'm planning to do this so we can have a stress-free sex life as a married couple. Yeah, because sometimes you're always thinking, when you're getting them, then you're like, are you on your safe days? Like it becomes so uncomfortable sometimes. So that's why naonanga like akicheza kama yeye akienda vasectomy inaweza kuwa easy sana, but tutaona akikama around nitawaambia. If you talked about your man on vasectomy, also let me know how that talk went, because in my house we're still having that conversation. You think nimesoma? Yeah, vasectomy is an option, but need to be discussed. Yeah, I think I agree on the same. It's also what I think, and yeah, we're still talking about it. If it comes along, I tell you guys, the day we're going for vasectomy, I think I'll just be like, guys, the road to freedom has begun. Like, I think the stress of constantly thinking if you're safe or not safe is so much. Considering sometimes we go through these phases where your hormones are just not behaving as a woman, and then I'm also allergic to things like CDs and stuff. So I don't like them. Mimi I think napenda kula switi yangu kama iko venye inafaa kukulwa, venye inakwa mdomo, ndio venye napenda kula switi yangu. So inapatanga ikiwa ni kazi ngumu. So like lazima cheze kama yeye ndio tusipate watoto wengi, kwa sababu pia tunataka kuzaa watu wenye tunaweza lea vizuri happily ever after, Ataki kuwa na watoto wa 10 and then tushinde kuwalea. Like I think in our capacity, what we're able to do as a family, I think hatuwezi manage watoto wengi, so tunataka tu watoto wachache, at most 4. Niko ready na 3, sina maanisha ni moja tu. But kama unataka watu wengi, it's also well and good, because you maybe are financially prepared and physically prepared and emotionally prepared to mother all of that children. But for me, I think I can only take a dose of 4 if possible. But again, venye nilisema, sitaki kusema nataka kwa watoto 4 and then I end up with 15 and then you guys will be like, hey, Nikki, angomo timore. You understand? Do you understand? Angomo timore. What went wrong? What happened? Listening to you is so calming. It's the voice for me. Here I was 30 minutes, 1 hour later. I'm here. Nelly Wewe. Thank you so much, girl. Thank you so very much. Thank you for that. Like nakupenda tu sana 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 kabisa. Just gracious. Hello, Nelly. I'm late. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate you, sweetheart. Thank you so very much. Do you sometimes have homesick? Girl, have you seen me having ugali like twice in a week? I miss home dearly. Like I do talk to my mom on a daily basis. That's one thing that I do every day or every other day. If I don't talk to my mom, it would be like I would miss only a day. But otherwise, my mom is those moms who I'm always on the phone, and sometimes I'm like, speaker, mom, I'm washing the house. Like it's like sometimes we're doing things together. When I'm in class, sometimes you'd call me and I'm in class, and because I'm the only girl my mom has. Like, do you guys understand that? Like, I think being the only daughter, and I was very close to my mom, and I've always been so close. Now we miss each other more because he's always been my best friend. Like, my mom is someone I've always told who I'm dating, how my relationship is going. I know some of you are like, don't tell your parents about your relationship. Myself, I'd rather not tell my dad about my relationship. Like, but I talk to my mom because I believe my mom is someone who will counsel me, advise me, tell me what to do without having to share with the world. Do you understand? So my mom has been like that capilla and my best friend. So my mom, I talk to my mom like, especially from maybe midday, we're always on phone. Sometimes we'll be talking for hours. Um, and homesick, I do feel homesick, but the fact that we talk a lot, like every other day or every day, makes it much more easier. And when it comes to food, I found ugali. So we make ugali. We do things that we do at home. And I think now I'm mostly into practicing my culture. I know some people will say, like, try and teach your children what people do in the city in Nairobi and stuff like that. But I think, as a person being married in this interracial relationship, I look back at my culture, like my identity, like me. This is my own personal preference. Me as Nelly, where do I come from? I'm a girl who was raised in the city, and I'm a girl who was also raised in the village. I feel like I identify much more with the village because it's my home. That is what I am. You understand? My parents came from somewhere, and that is my identity. In my house, like you guys saw in the last video, I'm teaching my husband Luo. I'm teaching my children Luo. We eat fish in my house, tilapia. We eat skuma wiki. We eat ugali. You understand? And I also try and teach them like the way we eat it at home with our hands. Because for me, I believe like, if Kenya is big, Kenya has 42 tribes. Come on, I cannot. I'm making them aware that those people exist and we're all different and unique in different ways. But I want my children to be able to identify with who their mother is, me, my origin, Luo. Who are we? What do we do? What do we eat? You understand? I don't want to, because my parents don't live in the city anymore, right? I used to live in the city, so my mom would come and visit me in the city. I'm the only reason, or unless she's going to visit, my mom and my dad would be going to visit any other relative. When they come to the city, they used to come to us, to my husband's in my house. You understand? So when we go to Kenya, we'll be living in the city as visiting our relatives, but not visiting my parents. My parents now live in the village. So where are my children going to spend time? Maybe safari and being in the village. So that's why I'm teaching my children my culture. It's my own personal preference. Um, because I feel like that is what, if I look down at the core, where everything I know has been built up and has evolved. It's in the village. Luo, fish, ugali, maziwa mala, and all of that, and the language. So that is what I'm trying to teach my children, because I believe when you come to Nairobi, these days you can easily speak in English and everyone understands English. You know, you wouldn't look like an outcast. After some time, I'll teach them how to speak in Swahili. But for now, as the stage where we are right now, we're doing Luo in my house. So Swahili will come, but it will come later. But I felt like, for me, being married to a foreigner, I had to make my children and my husband understand my culture, learn my culture, because I'm also learning these other new cultures. So it's something we're doing integration both ways in my house. Random questions well answered. I love it. This girl has to love and leave you. Oh, thank you so much. You please follow, like, share, support. Kudos, sweethearts. Thank you. Kudos, sweethearts. Sweetheart. Ooh, thank you so much for those kind words, sweetheart. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it. Please do like, follow, share, support in any way you can. And if you have any questions, just ask them. I'll be here to answer. Hey Nelly, I'm late. You're not late at all. You're here, and that's all that matters. Really do appreciate you as well for being here. So you've caught the train. You've caught the train, and that's all that matters. Thank you so much again. Just gracious. Do you have, I think I've answered that. Do you sometimes have homesick or are you sometimes homesick? I've answered that. Random questions. I think I've also read that. Me too. I would be a surrogate mom. I love being pregnant. Kumbe, I'm not alone. I think like motherhood in my own like thoughts, my heart, like I've suffered miscarriage, right? And I know how it feels like I know the pain. I have a glimpse of what infertility feels like. I have a glimpse into, like, I was pregnant and I lost a baby, you understand? And for me, that is a loss I've gone through. So I understand if someone is totally not able to have a pregnancy, or able to, a couple is not able to have a child completely. Yeah, so it's something that I think, because I've gone through it, like carrying a pregnancy, feeling your baby play in your tummy and then losing that is something I relate to. So that is why I feel like I would easily agree if it's someone close to my blood. But again, I feel like I'll be so emotionally attached to that baby because, again, when you carry your baby, you get emotionally attached to that child. So it will still be your child, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to live together or close to each other, like my next door neighbor. So I'm able to always see, and we can agree. Like the child will know I carried the babe, I carried them, and they, like, we'll have to explain. Like I like in my mind, I got all that covered, but in this life, my husband will not allow, and I think my mom also would not allow. How do you manage school kids in a foreign country where you can't afford employing a nanny? Wow, this is a nice one. This is a nice one. I think you have answered, you have asked the best question of the night. Like all of you guys have asked the best question. But this, I think, is something, whew, wow. Okay. One, in Kenya, I said, like, I'll tell you 100%. In Kenya, my upbringing, we never used to like do house calls. Like we always, my mom would always, when we lived with my mom would always pay someone and do something. We once in a while would do, like, cooking, going to the garden, doing all of that. Like we did it, but not like you must do it, you understand? When I got married, when I had Adrian, I had a nanny. So I had someone who would always be taking care of everything else, but I always showered my children. Like my children, bath time is my role. It's not my house help's role. So to them, growing up to the time we're coming here, I've always had someone helping me. Like could be a day bag or someone I'm living with or my brothers. Like I've always had help. Or my mom always would come. Like if my husband is not around, sometimes my mom would come and visit for a month. A month is too long. No, she'll be in a month. We had a house in Nairobi. She'll be visiting my uncle. She'll be taking care of her own house and stuff like that. So sometimes we take a month, sometimes we take weeks, but at least she'd still come, right? Moving here, my friend, that was a shock. That is the only, okay. When we're in Nairobi, we talked about this. We're like, when we come, we'll have someone come clean the house once in a while. And then because we're starting up, it was just realistic to have someone come and clean the house once in a while. And then somehow it never came around my mind that actually people will be different. You understand? For example, it's not like home where I just tell my mom, hey, yo, you know, I need to go to this place, mom, or I'm just so tired. I need a break from parenting. Can you come and be like, can you come and visit or something like that? My mom is so open to that because those are his grandchildren. Like my mom had, I have my stepsisters and they have children, but from my mom's side, I'm the only child who have children. So it's kind of like her very first grandchildren, not step grandchildren, but grandchildren. Like all her are her grandchildren, but I think I am her own. Does that make sense? Like mimi ni wake, yeye ni wangu. Na yeye ni wa watu wengine, because we're always many people in my home, but she's always free to come. Coming here, I used to think, and this is something I never talked about when I was talking about culture shock. I used to think that it would be the same. Like I can just like, just say like, hey, tomorrow I'm going out and can you come and take care of the kids? Like it's possible to do so, but I have to plan in advance. With my mom, I would be like, hey, mom, you know. So Uku coming here, it's been really a challenge with regards to that. So it means if we have to go somewhere, we have to plan in advance and have the kids picked up or taken care of, planned, so that we do not inconvenience the other person. Same true if you're visiting. I told you guys here, if you're visiting with your family, you have to let them know in advance. You don't just pop in. You don't just show up. I have to call. I have to say I'm around. Is it a good time to visit or not? It's just etiquette to do that here in Europe. Not like you just show up like I was in the neighborhood, I'm just here. No. Um so coming here now, being a mom and being a student in a foreign country has not been easy. But one thing I would say is I have a supportive husband. My husband, and I feel like Finnish men or men here in Europe, they're not brought up the same way men in Africa are brought up. I mean, there are men in Africa who are civilized or still are really gentle in their own way to help their wives. Um, so if you have that one kind of man, you are very lucky. Take good care of them, love on them, appreciate them. Here in my house, my husband cooks, I cook. My husband does dishes. I do dishes. My husband washes the kids. I wash the kids. My husband puts them to bed. I put them to bed. My husband goes shopping. I go shopping. We do everything. My husband cleans the house. I clean the house. Although he takes a long time. He takes a long time to clean the house, but he cleans the house and I clean the house. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, we don't have something that the only thing I can do myself is give birth. Like giving birth is meant for me. You understand? But producing the baby is meant for both of us. But every other house call we do together. So the house would not be that, and then he'll come and say, you did not clean the house, you did not do this. No, we don't have that. So I think for me, it has been really easy to be a student. Like not easy really, because I still have to be a mom at home and I have to be a wife at home. But at least that weight of doing house chores has been made easier by the fact that we share things. Like right now, I'm here with you guys, right? Tomorrow, my kids need to be in daycare. He'll take them to daycare because tomorrow we're going for a date. So he'll take them to daycare. So it means he'll wake up in the morning. I'll be sleeping in the morning. So he went to bed early, right? Tomorrow is his free day. So I'll be sleeping in and he'll be waking up early to get the kids ready and take them to daycare. And me, I'll stay in, sleeping, wake up, look pretty, and wait for daytime. So we balance like that. Like we just balance. Sometimes when the kids, like Daniel is still very young, he came from breast milk, and now he has a fetish of armpits. Like he just likes when his hands are in my armpits. So when he wakes up at night, if I'm at home, he knows. Like when he goes to bed and I went out, like for example, night out or something, he won't ask for me. But day nights when I sleep, when he knows, like weekdays, mommy is home, like he knows, he's now aware, mommy is at home, mommy went out, he knows. So I do tell them before they go to bed also. So when he wakes up at night, most of the time he wants only me to take care of him. The dad can wake up and take care of him, but my husband also is a heavy sleeper. So, and Daniel also calls for me a lot. So because of that, if Daniel wakes up, like has a hard time sleeping at night, then my husband will be the one to wake up and take care of them because I was basically doing the night shift. So that is how we manage in my house. When it comes to schoolwork, the same way. Although one thing I told you guys is my husband does not speak Finnish. So when it comes to the language, his relatives, the little that he knows, but mostly I'd say, I'm thanking me. I'm thanking me for me. I'm thanking me for believing in me. I told you guys a pastor class. I'm thanking me for believing in me. I'm thanking me for working so hard. Yeah. So now I speak, like I would say, I get along very well in Finnish, like so very well. So well. Today we're in clinic and I was so proud of myself. So proud. Guys, me, I celebrate every win. Like I celebrate myself for everything, to the little one. to the little one. Like, yeah. So that is how I manage with that. So basically, what I do is when it comes to schoolwork, once everyone has gone to bed, I find it really hard to wake up in the morning and study. I'm not a morning person. I'm more of an evening person. So once everyone has gone to bed, including my husband, then what I'll do is I'll stay up and study, do my homework, make sure I remember everything that I need to do, my assignments are done, then I'll go to bed. In the morning, then it becomes hard to it means I sleep less, but at least I have time for me. I believe in having a cup of coffee, not coffee, but tea by myself at night once everyone has gone. Like, like when you're done being mom, wife, and everything, I believe in just taking some time and being myself. So sometimes my night routine includes, if I'm not going to school, if I don't have a lot of homework, taking a long bath, scrubbing my skin, just go in there with sea salt and is it sea salt? Yeah. And argan oil, and just give myself a scrub, take my time, come have a cup of coffee, go to the sauna. Those are things that I love to do to take care of myself. So that, do my homework when everyone else is sleeping. And aside from that, we just manage. He helps and I help. So that is what we do. Is your husband a Muslim? No, my husband is not a Muslim. But my husband has worked in Muslim countries, but he's not a Muslim. He's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Christian. Finns are Christians, so he's a Christian. Mimi mlango ya nyuma nililipa 35k. Wow, nilipa pesa mob. Me, I think place watu wamekula pesa yangu sana ni passport wamenikula sana. And then also the process of application, because what happened is I had to change my son's birth certificate, like I told you guys, because to correct the names. And then after that, tukaambiwa paperwork. Kila mtu anapatianga. Like, I think one thing I'll tell you guys, if you're looking into getting married by a foreigner, feel free to ask me or ask someone else who've gone through the same process, so you know what is required. Because what I notice is not all lawyers in Kenya know the whole process, and not all lawyers are able to give you the best advice, because for them, at the end of the day, any document they do for you, you have to pay them. If they do an affidavit, you have to pay. Everything you have to pay. And even if it's something that is not needed, you're just going to have a document lying around which you're not going to use, but you have paid for it. So, meaning that, if you're looking into getting married, ask me or ask anyone else who you know has a foreign husband, and I'm sure they'll be able to help. And I'll also be able to help. I've always helped when I can many people. So feel free to ask. And asking is good. Asking is not opening up your life to other people, but asking is just getting informed. I've helped someone fill a form for, passport application, visa application. I've done all of that. So it's something I can do, and I think it's important, because sometimes you end up with documents, you might end up spending a lot of money that you don't need to spend because you did not ask. And obviously, of course, unless you're getting married to a foreigner for the second time, it's always hard to get just everything that you need without forgetting other things. So unless, if you're getting married for the second time, then you can experience. If you're getting married for the very first time, you don't have an experience, and it's easier if you ask. Yeah. Amita anasema LC ya Nelly ni like 9 years ago. But sasa tumejua. Aki, mi ni mzee. Kwa hii relationship nimezeeka. Kwa hii relationship nimezeeka. But guys, I'm not talking about 9 years ago. Tumekuwa together for, now tunaendelea 10 years. But nilifanya wedding yangu saizi tuna celebrate we just celebrated our 2 years anniversary, like together married 2 years, but we've been together for now 10 years. So yeah, it's just recently, not so like way back. No. Yeah. So again, guys, for those of you who are thinking on how to support my platform, you can like this video, share with your friend, like, subscribe, replay my playlist, and as well as check my PayPal. You can buy me a cup of coffee or anything like that if you want. I love coffee. I drink coffee. Yeah. So you can buy me coffee if you want to. Let's see, which ones have I not? Let me read. And thank you so much for being here as well, guys. Like, I really do appreciate that so very much. So very much. I've answered that. So you may answer. We got married like I think 2 years. We now are here in Finland for 2 years. We just celebrated our anniversary, second anniversary. Um, you said you have 3 kids. How was your pregnancy journey? How was your labor process? Ooh, okay. So let me take you. My first child was a horror story. My labor was a horror story. Like that was a horror story. Do you want to know about it? Tell me. But horror, like not the like having my baby. Like I got this precious little baby that I adore my entire world, and now we are like he's basically my height. Like you guys, my son is basically almost my height. Let me show you guys. Wait, let me show you something. This is this is me and Adrian. Do you see? Like he's basically my height. So what happened? I told you guys I got pregnant when I was so very young. So I won't tell you how old so that you can guess my age, but if you want to know my age, maybe one day I'll whisper for you in my ears. Ladies don't kiss and tell. Okay. So I won't tell you my age, but ladies don't kiss and tell. Yeah. So I got my baby. I had my son when I was still very young. And according to, okay, let me just say, I was just over. Okay, I got my son when I was 19, right? So at 19, yeah, that was hard. So, okay, I got my son when I was just 19. And then at 19, according to the doctors, they believed that I was too young, umejua mingi haraka haraka. You guys, your mom, your parents must have been irresponsible. You're a disgrace to your mother. The midwives, they had their own stories and they were so arrogant. They were so arrogant with me. So my labor, I would not say I had a good process of laboring and delivering because they just were so ruthless with me. They were very ruthless with me. They were never kind. They were not kind at all. They never understood. Like for me, I would say how they treated me, I would not treat my enemy. Like it was so hard. I remember, when you're young and you're pregnant for the very first time and you don't even know like when are you supposed to. And then those were the hard times in my life. Okay, those were the hard times in my life. And the reason why I'm saying this is so that if you're in a hard place, no, hard situations don't last. They come to an end, and your sunrise will come so soon, and you shall look back then just say like, "Wow, God, you took me from there." Okay, so I remember you don't know how to push. I did not have a lot of money. So like I did not go for things like Lame's classes to know like how do you push, how do you labor. Everything at that particular time was a shock. Remember, I told you guys I was depressed during pregnancy. So that was like a lot happening within myself. So you're here and you're like, wow, 9 months is Mefika, like I'm in labor. Guys, like it's happening. So my labor was really tough. Delivery, yeah, but I ended up having this amazing, beautiful gift ever my entire life. And I'm so thankful for the universe for that gift that I still have and hold and treasure and get to mother forever. No one is going to ever take that away from me. So that is something I do appreciate. Like the process, the service was never good, the process was not good, but I have this gift that I get to hold. So I would say gifts come wrapped, and until you open it, you'd never know what is inside. My second child we had when we had planned already. I think I took my time. Like I told you guys, between my first child and my second child, there's a gap of 4 years. We took our time to plan. I wanted to heal from that experience. I wanted to be certain everything was going to be okay. I wanted to be sure I was safe. My husband had to be there. So my second pregnancy, I had lessons now. I was taught how to labor, how to know when the baby is coming before getting to the delivery process. We booked a private delivery place at Aga Khan. We went to deliver. But what I usually keep reminding people, even if you pay for private services, like I was in a private unit for my delivery, very expensive, but still you cannot avoid near death experiences. So you need someone there with you to be there and say, you know what, speak up for you. You've just given birth, you're still very vulnerable. A lot is happening in your body. And if you don't have someone who can speak up on your behalf, something can go wrong. And many women die because of this. When I had my second child, I had placenta retention in my uterus, and it took near death for the doctors to help me out. So I would say, even if you go to Aga Khan, don't just pay your money and say, you know what, these doctors, they know what they're doing and it's all going to be okay. No. So that was my second pregnancy. And third pregnancy, we also had in the same place. Yeah, so second pregnancy and third pregnancies were all okay. Labor and delivery, I've always had to be induced. Apart from my first pregnancy, I had a normal delivery. It was the longest labor process. I labored for the whole night and I gave birth. No, I labored for, wait a minute. I labored for a night and a half for my child, my first child. My second child, I labored the whole night. My labor process have always been really long, even with induction. My third child was a risk pregnancy because my thyroid levels were really high. I was bleeding most of the time. I was on bed rest a lot of times. So in my third pregnancy, I wasn't working. I was home. And the doctors had said we need to uh, do an abortion, but then I decided I was keeping the pregnancy. So it was a risky pregnancy, but we made it through. A lot of bed rest, a lot of hospital visits every week. Sometimes I would be like driving in, like, emergency situation and stuff like that, and drips here and there and stuff. So it was really a hard one, but we got to make it through. And I think that is what makes me afraid of sometimes getting pregnant. Like, I really love having children, but my last pregnancy was really hard. So yeah. But I had like an induction still. I was done for an induction. I first had a uterine sweep, the one they go into the cervix and then they basically do like this, to just break the membrane, and then you're able to they're able to fasten the labor process. And then after that, the baby did not come like almost soon, and then I had to be induced to give birth. So that is what happened. The water broke before the labor began. So basically the water broke at home, and I was like, I'm so suing. I remember my husband had just woken up, and I was just coming from the bed, and I was like, wow, there's water on the floor. And then he was like, we need to go to the hospital. And I was not in labor. So when we went in, they checked me out, and then they were like, you're not yet dilated. We need to induce you. You cannot stay for a long time after the water has broken because you risk infections. And then, yeah, so that's what they did. And that is how I had my second baby. Hey, Teras, how are you? How are you doing? Nice to see you here again today. How is your day? How is your day today? Aminta Mwandoe, love you too so very much. Love you, girl. I really do appreciate you. Immaculate says, how does your firstborn call your husband? Or rather, how is it getting married while having a child? I think me and my husband got together. Okay, let me take you back a little bit, right? So I had my child, and then I stayed with my child for some time, and then I had to go to school, right? So my mom I usually say my son is mine and my mom's first, and then my husband's second. I did a reel on Instagram. Actually, if you don't follow me, you should consider following me, guys. And I told you guys about the order in which I said this is the order in which they came into my life. So it was my son, and then my husband, and then my other two sons came in later. And that's how we became a family. So, and I'm not afraid to say that because it's clear and you can tell we are all a family and we love each other. So I had my child, and then I had to. My son had a very bad poisoning, which was another story. I think I shared this at Little Aya's live the last few days, and then after having my baby, then I had to at some point give my mom said, you know what, you need to catch up with your career, otherwise you'll end up being dependable on people or myself for a long time. So I had to go back to school. So I gave my mom my son for some time and then went to school. And then I was studying, I met my husband. So then after I met my husband, we started living together and we realized we actually had something together. And at that time, I already told him we have a child. I have a child. So then he was like, you know what? Why don't we live together with the child as well? Because we're then planning to move in together. No, I then was no, we were not yet planning to move in together. I was planning to have my child come and stay with me, and my husband wanted us to start living together. So I remember my mom coming over to bring my son, because then I had to do this process of helping my son readjust to having me with him, and my mom had to be there. So my mom was like home, and we stayed like for a long time, and basically the whole of that time, for some time, as my son was trying to readjust to all of this, because we knew just taking my son from home was meaning like he was going to, the security he had known, the family he had known, it was going to be cut off immediately. So we decided my mom to come. My dad stayed with my other brothers. My mom comes over, and then we get to readjust again afresh. Like, I had this thing where I used to call every day, even when my son was young. I would still sing him like nighttime songs, put him to bed and stuff on the phone with my mom. But then we did not see each other often. And because I was in school, I would manage to visit like after every 2 weeks. Every time I had time, I would visit home. Every time I had time, I had to visit home. So when he was coming to live with me, we basically decided that my mom comes, me and my mom talked, she was coming, we had to readjust like the whole process. So I would say, if your child has been staying with your mother, don't just go home and think, now I'm able to earn my own money, let me just go and take my son and bring them home, because you're kind of what is it called, you're kind of interfering with their own balance, you understand? So my mom came and we readjusted, and my son was okay with that, and he was finally happy to stay with me longer without crying and asking for my crying for my mom and stuff like that. So then my mom went back. After that, then we moved in with my husband. Then this time, when my son is learning how to speak and everything like that, the only person who was close enough as a man was my husband, and the only person who was close enough as the mother was me. So the name Mama and Papa just grew up like that. I never forced my child and said, you need to do like this and that and that. No, he automatically called my husband daddy and me mommy. So that is how we basically ended up. And up to today, that is how it is, and that's how it stays. Um, so yeah, that is something I would say happened with us. So it's just always been like that. I've never we did not I did not meet my husband in a time where my son already knew mama and papa and stuff like that. And me and my mom have only been the female characters, and my aunties, of course, have only been the female characters in my son's life before we got together with my husband. And my dad has only been the the male character, and my husband now in his active life, and of course my brothers as well, who are now his uncles. So it's always been like that. My father, he calls my father Babu. He calls my mom Mamu, from mom, Mamu from mom, and he calls me Mommy, and my husband Daddy. And yeah, so that's how we do. That's how we have come along together. Yeah, so I would say, if you are looking forward into marrying someone else who has a child, do not force your child to call someone daddy. Let it come naturally. Maybe they will, maybe they will not. It has to be the child's choice to do so. It depends on how the child feels, because sometimes relationships are not meant to last. And forcing a child to call someone daddy, I think, is doing injustice to a child. Like, it's not really right. So that's just my own opinion. I don't know how you guys think, but that is what I would advise from the years of motherhood I've had. Don't force your child to call someone daddy. And also, don't meet someone and automatically force them or tell them they have to adopt your child, because relationships take time. It takes time to build a family. And if you force your child, if you force the man you're with to adopt your child, you end up getting into a relationship 2 years later, it's not working, and then you want a divorce or breaking up. The child has already someone else's name. So it just puts you in a very hard place until you're able to live for a long time and the man wants the child to adopt his name, then that's okay. If the man does not want, it's also okay. If you do not want the child to have your husband's name, that's also totally acceptable because you are the mother. It's okay also for your child to have your own last name as the last name. So you do what suits you. To each their own. That's what I would say. Someday you'll have your own identity. Oh, I love the way that begins. Someday you'll have your own identity, not just your background and parents' culture, I hope. I say this because they can truly share it with your family and other people. I say this because then you can truly share it with your own family and other people. I think at this point in time, I have my own identity. But as much as I have my own identity, like, I know I'm different. I'm a mom of different kids, not different kids. Yeah, I'd say different kids. They're all my children, but I usually say kids are all different. They're all different human beings. And I only have them. So I only know what it takes to parent children like mine. I only know what it takes to be a mother like me. And I feel like those are lessons that determine what I identify with. But then when I talk about where I can, some, you have where you come from, and then you have who you are. You understand? Who you are becoming. You have where you come from, and then you have who you're becoming. Because I believe human beings, we do evolve, in my own opinion. So where I come from, the past, you need to teach your children the past, the present. If it has something positive to impact their lives with. So for me, for example, the food, my culture, my mother tongue, those are things that I feel like they can learn. But then who I'm becoming right now, only me knows. So that is my identity right now. But I have a past, I have the people who made me, that my children also need to be, my children are part of. It's just the same as I would say, here we have my husband's family side, they're Finns. So my children need to know what are Finns like. You understand? It's the same way he needs to know what is my culture like? What are my people like? Yeah. Hey, Powalindo, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate this. Thank you so very much for always being here. Asante sana in Swahili. Um, how long have you been in Finland? I've been in Finland now for 2 years. 2 years. Yeah. Finns are mostly Christians, but not all. That's very true. I know that. Mono- in When you read, there's an article I was reading which was given to me by Migri. They say that most Finns are Christians, but not all are believers. Like they go to church every day and stuff. Basically, Finns, we say, like, it's a non-religion country. You are free to become who you want to be, whether you want to be a Muslim, a Buddhist, a Christian, or whatever. You're free to become who you want to become. There's freedom of worship, so you can worship any god that you want. That's your own choice. So yeah, that is Finland. um did you change your names in Kenya to your husband's name on the passport? No, I did not change. I did not change my names. It's something I'm planning to do, but again, I'm just like, yeah, my names are still Nelly and my other names, but yeah, it's something. I'm traditional, I would say, in a way. I'm traditional because I believe I'll say I'm traditional and I'm a Christian. I don't go to church every Sunday, but there are things that I still believe that I was taught. You understand? For example, in the Bible, they say a woman shall leave their home and go to the husband's name, and the two shall become one. For me, my interpretation of that is I finally become one with my husband. So for me, the change of names is something I would consider doing, but I want to do it like in my own time. So I've never been in a rush to like have your husband's name, have your husband's name. No, he is my husband and I love him so much. And I will have that when the right time comes. But for now, I have my own names. Yeah. It's a pleasure, Nelly Harma. Thank you so very much. Guys, remember, if you want to support my platform, you can replay this video, share it with a friend, tell a friend, and also like the video. If it's possible, also share, like the video, replay my playlist again. And above all, you being here and watching this is so very important to me. I really do appreciate it. And to those of you who always ask on how to support my platform, that is my PayPal account. Feel free, it's no pressure if you want to only, but those are some of the ways you can support my content and my platform and my live streams and just being a content creator if you appreciate this kind of conversations. So I think I've read this one. And did you change the names? I've said that as well. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. I think I've answered all of your questions. If there's anyone still remaining, let me know. What is the time? Ooh, child, we have been here for a while. But tomorrow there's no school. So yeah. Is there any other question or should we bring this to a close? Because I'm seeing now it's getting late and we need to go and sleep. If there's any question, I'm still waiting to answer them. So I think the highlight of this is I would say being married in Finland is a nice thing. I love that we're able to raise our family in this Finnish culture, having all our everything we know about ourselves and our culture and stuff like that, but still be able to form our own family in this special, unique way. I love how we basically do life. And if you have not heard about what I was talking about on how we manage daily activities and how I'm able to become a student and still be a mom, please watch this again. But yeah, I think when it comes to raising a family, supporting each other is the most key thing. And that is something I really do appreciate here. Like a man is able to do everything a woman is able to do around the house, aside from giving birth. I mean, these days I see men even carrying pregnancies. So yeah, so yeah, I think these are some of the things I would say. But if you have any question, please do ask. I'm still here. If there's no question, I think we'll bring this to an end because we exhausted the questions and the answers. The questions are all answered. So I think I've been a good host today, and you guys have been good listeners today. You've asked questions, and I've tried to answer them, and you guys have been so amazing. And I really do appreciate your presence here every single time you're here with me. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, so I'll be waiting a little bit to see if there's any question. And if there's not any other question, I'll leave. I'll close the live today and we'll call it a night. But this was really amazing. I enjoyed this live stream today. I really enjoyed this. So, yeah, this was really fun. This was so much fun. Yeah. So I'll wait on you guys. If you have any question, please do ask. But again, the ways to support my platforms, like I've said, watch this again. That is the most important way you can help me right now. You can play this stream again and listen to the conversation we've had before. You can also like this stream. You can also share this stream. I don't know what's happening with YT lately, but their countings are just not matching up for me. But yeah, That's for me to sort when it comes to hours and stuff like that. So yeah, please, that is the most important way you can support me. But if you want to support my content, you can as well feel free to PayPal me at nellymarons@gmail.com. So those are some of the things I would say. And as we bring this to a close, I really appreciate you guys for being here so much. This was the most fun moment I've had here. The most amazing night. I think the questions were so amazing. I hope I answered all your questions very well. And I cannot wait to see you guys probably next time soon, but not too late. But yeah, bye, guys. Love you. Mwah. Bye.